What do we do with our families? Stay in it, stay in it, stay in it again until it's time to go. We stay in it when we refuse to cordon off our commitments from spaces, even when they make our families ill at ease. We stay in it when we reject pervasive messages that we're supposed to avoid hot topics with our families of origin. We stay in it when we don't shrink or shirk just because there might be some landmines laying about. Staying in it doesn't mean provoking disagreement or yelling matches when someone doesn't see something the same way we do. There's a time to push back hard, and there's a time to set firm boundaries. There may even be a time to argue. But I don't think staying true to anti-racist commitments means having to win an argument about an issue every time we go home. Arguing and yelling about racism really aren't sustainable. They're not a way to stay. Now, to be sure, avoiding arguing and provocation doesn't mean every interaction will go well. Sometimes merely refusing to cordon off our commitments is experienced by our families as provocation. I remember the time a totally banal question got me all tied up in knots. "Jen, what are you teaching this semester?" Someone was making small talk. Well, I was teaching reparations for enslavement, so I said that. The emotional intensity escalated immediately. I found myself flustered when someone asked sarcastically, "Okay, well, I'm Irish. Where's my reparations?" My response was sort of feeble. "I don't know. I guess I'm focusing on me and my community's responsibility for making things right." That exchange felt decidedly not great. I felt like I'd failed by not coming up with a better response. I also left feeling like I'd let myself get bullied a little bit. But when I look back at the incident from the perspective of staying in it, I see that maybe this failure was its own kind of success. I'd known it would be a whole lot easier to evade when asked about my teaching. I could have said, "I'm teaching history," and that would have been technically true, but it wouldn't have been authentic. I'd have been choosing ease over my anti-racism values. Staying in it is a decision to take up space. It's an attempt to show ourselves in the fullness of our beliefs and commitments, regardless of whether others get it or not. It's a repeated choice not to hide. Tell me more about why you're so afraid of people crossing the border. I know you to be a compassionate person, and I know you'd do anything for your own grandkids or children. Have you had an experience that makes you feel so strongly about protecting our borders? When did our family cross the border? What would you do for your child if they were hungry? Or, "I'm committed to my kiddo learning the whole history of the United States, and I know you value education. Actually, you're always so proud of how hard she works at school. Why does her learning about this part of our racial history frustrate you so much? What were you taught about our racial history?" Or, "I've been learning about the destruction of African American communities when the interstate was built in Des Moines, and it dawned on me that your parents were here when that happened. Did they ever talk about this when you were a kid?" I have a friend whose family lost her business, and it's been painful to learn how these emotional and economic losses still affect all of them. I feel sad about it and wonder how it affected our family. Those are just a few kinds of responses that might, in some families, be a way to stay. Stay in it, stay in it, stay in it again, until it's time to leave. There are times to leave and shut the door hard. My book, where I was reading some of those stories, has some of those accounts in my own life too. But friends, we need to engage our families. It's vital to the work of anti-racism and co-creating a world where everyone can flourish. The email has your action for today.